Hello and welcome to another episode of the Firearms Insider Gun and Gear Review Podcast. This is episode 87. On this show, we showcase gun reviews, gear, and anything else a gun enthusiast may be looking for. We strive to evaluate products from an unbiased and honest perspective. I'm your host, Ryan Cross from the Firearms Radio Network, your source for broadcasts for shooters, hunters, and gun enthusiasts. Bandwidth for this episode is brought to you by Patriot Patch Co. Get some awesome, custom-designed PVC morale patches designed by yours truly at patriotpatchco.com. Today I have with me joining just TJ. How's it going, man? What's that? Yeah, your mic's kind of bugging out, dude.
It's interesting.
You know, unplug it, plug it back in. There. Well, you work on that. So anyway, it's going to be a... Yeah, there you are. Much better. So I was just going to say, this is going to be a kind of a short show. It's just me and TJ, and we've been so busy, we don't have any gun reviews. I can hear you, buddy. Can you hear me? Oh, dude, you're cramping my style. Anyway, so yeah, we don't have any gear reviews this week because we've been so busy.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, I'm good.
You're great.
Alrighty, awesome. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, I don't know. So anyway, did you do anything in guns this week, TJ?
Yeah, actually, I went shooting this last Friday with a friend of mine at our local indoor range. Got to shoot my new shield that I picked up. I know I talked about that on the last two shows, and I picked it up last Thursday, I believe it was, maybe Wednesday. So I went shoot it Friday, and I really like it. And as well, I brought my my car 380, and then he brought a couple of his guns. He's got a Ruger P94 in 40 cal, and then a Smith & Wesson J-frame lightweight, and then it was a Cattleman revolver, the 357 single action army style revolvers, and those are all pretty cool to shoot. The Ruger one thing was kind of interesting. It almost jiggled the recoil, like it didn't I don't know. It was a very weird recoil. It just kind of it was almost like I was just slapping Jello, kind of like a weird impulse, I guess. I don't know.
Those are some very graphic descriptions, man.
Yeah, well, I mean, honestly, that was the best way to explain it. It just jiggled, you know. But I really liked my shield. I'm glad I got that, and I'll carry it a whole heck of a lot more than the revolver I sold for it. So, also got some of these they're called mag guts, and the name kind of implies it replaces all the internals or the guts of your magazines and gives you an extra round. And they make one for most of the, tiny single stack guns, the 380s and some of the 9mm. So it seemed to work pretty well, and I'm hoping to test those out a little bit more, and hope they work.
A flatter spring.
Yeah, they changed the spring a little bit. It's a two-part spring where they kind of collapse together, and the follower is like this thin little sheet metal that kind of compresses to stack it. I guess all that added up gives you enough room for one more round in the magazine. So like if you think like a LCP or my Car 380 with the flat base plate that only holds 6, you can put that in there and you get 7.
That's cool.
Yeah, so hoping they work well enough to start carrying those.
Right on. Well, I've actually been still editing that the video for my review of the WJM15. I actually finished it yesterday, which was Monday, and I got it live and published a review. So a little late compared to the release of the podcast the Friday before, but I think the quality kind of makes up for it. Just getting it all fleshed out there. Actually, a scene got accidentally deleted, so I had to reshoot like one segment. So.
Oh no.
Yeah, I don't envy the guys that do this whole YouTube thing for a living.
Yeah, I know. I know one of my friends she works in a news station. She edits their video, and she talks about how repetitive and I guess annoying it is to edit video. Like the same 30-second clip of video you watch for 2 hours before you get it the way you want it. And I just didn't understand it until I edited my first video. And now every time I hear the FRN opening, I think I just, in my head, I automatically hear the intro music that I put to my very first video. So basically every podcast on the network, and then I hear that music just play in my head, and I'm like, dang it. A lot goes into it.
Yep. So let's get into the first product that we're going to talk about this week. It is a new weapon light from Streamlight. It's the TLR6. I still got the 2. I didn't know they were up to 6 already. This looks to be specifically made for the trigger guard of a Glock 42 and 43 subcompact pistols. So it really fits the form well. It fits that nice compact size, and it goes on to the trigger guard, since those handguns don't have a any kind of accessory rail underneath the dust cover.
Yeah, it's a light and laser, right?
Yeah, it's a light and laser. Sorry.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it's really neat. They're kind of taking the I guess kind of Crimson Trace route and making it kind of mold to the gun rather than just a big honking accessory on the bottom like some of their previous other offerings are, I guess. The light is a little or a good bit dimmer, I guess, than a lot of their other offerings, but being that it's so compact, you would expect that. It's 100 lumen light on there.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I don't know if you noticed, but the front of that light with the laser below it kind of has a raised muzzle almost that looks like a 1911. Yeah,
it does look like that. What do you call that? The barrel bushing.
Yeah, exactly. So if you were to put this on your Glock and like shove it into like some clay, it looked like you had a 1911 and a Glock like stacked on top of each other. Yeah, undermounted. So anyway, it's like you said, 100 lumens using their C4 LED illuminator, and the laser is a 640 to 660 nm. Or is that nano?
I have no clue.
Yeah. So it runs 1 hour using the LED only or the LED laser combo. And if you're only using the laser, it'll run for 11 hours. So not very good battery life on those CR1/3N lithium batteries.
Yeah, I guess for the size, you have to make some compromises in battery size. So that's probably where it comes from. But I think the Crimson Trace, what do they call them? The Railmasters.
I think you unplugged yourself.
Hello?
The Railmasters. What were you saying? TJ, did you kick out your mic cord? All right, well, I'm just going to talk till he comes back in. So you got operating temperature minus 20 to 120 Fahrenheit. It's got windage and elevation adjustment screws mounted in any brass bushing for good zero retention of the laser. You back?
Yep, sorry about that. I don't know what the heck happened.
You're just causing problems tonight.
I know, right? Anyways, I was saying about the Railmaster, I think it has a similar battery life on it. So competitive, similar brightness and similar battery life. So.
Yeah, the nice thing about it is, there's nothing really protruding from the sides, and it doesn't really extend past the trigger guard. So getting a holster made for it should be relatively simple.
Yeah, imagine any of the custom makers. I think Streamlight's pretty good about making little dummy lights and accessories for holster makers. So I'm sure people will have these pretty quick. A lot of the custom holster makers that we're used to seeing will probably have these soon. One thing I find kind of curious is why it's the TLR6, because I'm not aware of a TLR5 that exists. So I'm wondering if they're holding something back.
They took the Windows motto. Instead of going Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows 9, they just skipped to Windows 10.
There we go. Could be.
Yeah.
Or maybe like Glock did, and they went straight to the 41, and then they brought the 40 out later.
Yeah.
Because the kind of the pattern that Streamlight has is the TLR1 is the the regular light, and then the TLR2 is the same light but with a laser. The TLR3 is the small light, and then the 4 is a small light and laser, and so maybe they're going to have a just light that's going to be the TLR5. That's just my speculation.
That's probably a good guess.
It'll be really cool to see them come out with more stuff for some of the other compact guns too. I'm sure the Glock is just the first in their offerings. So
yeah, probably like the Ruger LCRs, LCPs.
Yeah, maybe the LC9 shields, those type guns. I would hope to see.
Yep. So it looks like this has a. You can change the battery without removing it from the gun. Looks like there's a compartment that just drops out the bottom. So that's kind of nice. You don't have to dismount it from your gun to change the battery and then throw off the zero of the laser. There is a 10-minute automatic shutoff to conserve the battery on both modes, light, laser, light only, and laser only. And then the switching between those modes is ambidextrous. It's just a push button on both sides to access 3 modes.
Neat. Yeah, it's definitely, I like the form factor of it, this size and all that. Yeah. Now, I guess the activation, it appears the button's kind of on the side to where maybe when you have an extended trigger finger, it'll be resting right around that button. So hopefully it's within well enough reach of your fingers to be able to activate it without breaking your grip.
Yeah, and it's kind of sunken in too, so it looks like you'd be really easy to feel it, just by touch without you really needing to use your vision.
Yeah. Now, what would be really cool is being that it's probably like a tactile button. It's not, it's not any kind of paddle switch or anything like that. So I bet you could make a holster that has a dimple molded in to where as you draw it, it hits the activation button. I could see that working out. Maybe.
Yeah, unless Veridian has a patent on that.
Yeah, I'm not sure how theirs works though, because Veridian's might be some kind of other type of activation. I don't know.
Yeah. So the MSRP on this guy, did we do our due diligence? Yes. So it's $175 MSRP.
Okay. Yeah, that's not terrible for light and laser. That's actually decent price for
yeah, especially for how well
laser.
How well it'll fit your Glock 42 and 43. It's
right.
Designed for it. So if you want to check that out, check out the link in the show notes or go to streamlight.com and look under products and just look for like new products and you'll be able to find the TLR6 in there. So next up, we actually got another dealer exclusive through Davidson's. I know we talked about some Springfield's last episode. This week, I was actually looking through their website, and I noticed that they had a bright red Ruger 2245 that I haven't seen anywhere before. So this is the 2245 Lite, so it's got those aggressive cuts in the barrel to really shave down on the weight, as well as the polymer lower half of it. But it's got a bright red anodized finish on the upper half, so the barrel.
Yeah, this thing's pretty cool. I have a old Ruger Mark 1. This is definitely a huge departure from that because it's the 2245, which I think they call it the 45 because it's kind of modeled, the grip frame of it's modeled after a 1911, to where I think you can actually replace the grips with 1911 grips. And it's got similar placed controls like the mag release and the slide release, so that's pretty neat. And like you said, this is kind of their standard light, which I think, like you said, it's got the polymer frame and the aluminum or some kind of alloy. I think it's just an aluminum up top end. So the whole thing only weighs 22.73 ounces. So if you're used to a bull barrel Mark II or something like that, that's going to be a huge price, weight difference. Because those all steel Mark IIs are actually pretty heavy and bulky for a 22 pistol.
Yeah. I know a lot of people, if they shoot competitions and they're bringing their kids to the matches, sometimes a lot when the kids get old enough to where they can compete, they kind of want a starting gun. And if they're not too familiar with recoil, and they're kind of more at home in the 22 long rifle range, a lot of guys will get them a Mark III or a Ruger 2245 because it's a great starting gun. And then, when they get old enough and more proficient, you can upgrade them to, a 9mm or something. But this would be a sweet little race gun for anybody. But if you want to get your kid like a birthday present or a Christmas present, and their favorite color is red. I mean, I've seen this in blue and other colors too, but this would be fantastic for them. Kind of lightweight, really good for them to learn the fundamentals. My first pistol was actually a Ruger Mark III, so I totally love it. Still got the thing.
Yeah,
they're timeless. I think every kid should at least experience shooting them.
Yeah, they're definitely fun. The only deal with, well, now that they've kind of outgrown that, but the older Mark I and Mark II, they had those old heel style releases where you had to, kind of like an old Walther, where you had to push that little nub out the way to get the magazine out. But now they do have that, traditional, I guess, American style magazine release. So yeah, they're pretty awesome and accurate too, from what I've understand. And then this exclusive, I'm not sure if all the lights come with it, but this one at least comes with the top rail, so you could mount a micro red dot or even a scope if you wanted to take it hunting or something like that.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it's got fixed sights on there. I imagine there's probably a little like alley that's cut into the rail so you can actually use your irons, but you could mount a red dot on there, which probably most people will end up putting some kind of cheap red dot on there.
Yeah.
And it's also got the threaded barrel too, so if you wanted to put a some kind of muzzle brake on there or compensator, from like Tactical Solutions or something, you could do that. Or if you have a suppressor, have even more fun and shoot it suppressed.
Yeah, I bet, like you said, making a race gun out of this thing, putting a compensator on the end would probably make this thing amazing. Almost no recoil with a little added, weight on the end. So.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely check it out. I think, if I had a kid and it was about time for them to get their first gun, I'd be looking really hard at this.
Yep. Just for reference, the 2245 target model, which I guess would be the most comparable, gun to that in the 4-inch, is 31 ounces. So it shaves off a good 9 ounces.
Yeah. The MSRP on this guy is $515, just to let you guys know. And it does come with a Ruger hard plastic case, just like all their other Ruger pistols usually do. Usually, because I think my 1911 came in a cardboard box, and I was like, what the heck?
Yeah, my LCP came in a cardboard box with one of those little triangular zipper pouches.
Yeah. Well, I got the zipper pouch, but...
What's going on, guys?
Hey, Tony.
Hey, Tony.
Hey, what's going on? I was just looking at, this was the pistol, actually, my wife said she would get into shooting if I bought it.
Well, there you go. Sounds like you got a job to do.
Yeah, pretty much. She saw the blue one and was like, yeah, I'll start shooting if you buy that thing. I'm like,
nice.
We just had a class this weekend. And one of the ladies there had an SR-22. And pretty much that's what some of the people who haven't shot before had to actually start shooting, because 9mm and 40 was too much for them in the class. It was NRA First Steps pistol class. And when they started shooting the 22, they passed the qualifications, no problem, and had a lot of fun. One of them even left saying, I'm going to buy one when I get home.
Yeah, those SR-22s and these Mark IIIs and 2245s are all great pistols to get people started shooting on. And then, I know, like you mentioned with your wife, I know a lot of people kind of bemoan the colored guns. It's like, well, it doesn't need to be, it doesn't need to be pink or purple or blue or green to get you into shooting. But some people, if that's what it takes, and to get them more serious into it, I'm all for it. If having a pink gun makes somebody, or blue or green or yellow, whatever, makes them a little more inclined to shoot, then why the heck not?
Yeah, we have to let that thing go of the blue steel and the wooden guns. It finally took the Glocks and that type of pistol to stop that silliness with the pistols, and it really took AR-15 and a lot of the modern sporting rifles to cut that crap out with centerfire rifles. And we just had, this is a new thing. It's going to bring more people in. It's not as if Ruger doesn't make anything that's not red or blue. It's just in addition to. And if there's a market, there's a market. Stop.
So long as they're not saying that women have to buy paint guns, then I'm okay with it. They can if they want to, but they don't have to.
I mean, truthfully, who cares?
Right.
We need more shooters. We need to stop being trying to exclude people out. I mean, really, some of the guys aren't FUDs, but you're starting to sound like them when you talk about we shouldn't have guns with different colors in it.
Right.
So if you want to click the link on the show notes, that'll take you right to that page on the Gallery of Guns website, which, of course, is the Davison's website. So next up, we got a rail that TJ here is super excited for. He brought this on the show notes, so he's probably going to talk the most about it. What is this?
Yeah, so if you guys remember last week, we talked about the Kinetic Development Group side lock mounts, which were the quick on and off aim point mounts. Well, this is by the same company. It's a product that's not out yet. They on their website they say June to July of 2015. So it's probably still in development. I'm trying to talk to them to get a little more information from them right now, but just going off some preliminary info they have on their site as of now. Basically, what it is, they didn't want to do the same kind of same form factor that everybody else is doing for rails and stuff. They said, it's been so long, we can probably improve on this. So what they did is they kind of went almost backwards to the Vietnam-style triangular handguard, but modernized it into, an all-aluminum free-float handguard. So it's kind of got that shape that maybe some of the, like I said, that triangular shape that a lot more rifles have as the handguard, which gives you a little better shape for your hand rather than a big bulky round thing, I guess. And like the MOE kind of has that shape too. And then as well, they put a full rail on the top, and it's got MOE, or not MOE, but the M-lock slots on the 9, 3, and 9, and 6 positions, so you can put stuff there. And they also, what they did, a little extra, is add some at the 10 and 2 positions. So if you, they will eventually be developing accessories that go for specifically at those 10 and 2 positions, like a light mount or something along those lines, to where it keeps it so low profile that it's almost integral to the handguard. Not, literally integral, but it's got that feel to it, where it's not like you have your flashlight sticking off of a 9 o'clock rail, sticking off 2 inches kind of thing. It's going to be more streamlined, I guess. And I just think this is an awesome rail, and their accessories, this company is making waves. I feel like they're going to be going places soon. But it's a for right now, it is a 11.63 inch rail. I'm not entirely sure if that's the proper length for a rifle length handguard, or if they picked that length for some other reason that I'm not aware of. But I would assume it's the proper length for a rifle length if you had a rifle length gas system with a front sight or something like that. So
yeah, I don't know. I think it's kind of short, but I'm not sure what a rifle length is.
Yeah, I know usually they call them 12. They call rifle length 12, and this is 11.63. So maybe 12 is just a rounding, make it easy or something like that. I'm not entirely sure. I need to contact them and see. Hopefully, whenever they get back with me, we'll be able to talk about that.
Yeah, I like the look of it. I like the retro look of the triangle handguards.
Mm-hmm.
My dream build, and I'm not really excited about building ARs because I don't care. But that too. I think that takes a lot of the fun out of it. But I wanted to build a lightweight pencil barrel AR, and with something like this triangle, this particular shape. And I like M-lock, especially over key mod. I think M-lock's going to be the next move.
Yeah, M-lock is definitely, in my opinion, it looks a heck of a lot better. I always thought the key mod, like a lot of people compare it to the store shelving, just that, it just looks funny to me. But it's M-LOK's going places. I can definitely see that, especially since it's open source. They're letting everybody take it and run with it. It's not proprietary. Also, the weight of the rail is 8.5 ounces, which is incredibly light. I'm not sure if that includes the barrel nut, but if it does, that's awesome, because I compared it to one of the kind of standards in aluminum, which is the Midwest Industries SS Gen 2, I think they call it, and it was within an ounce or two. So to be even comparable with this other popular, relatively lightweight rail, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I saw that people were going crazy when, what is it called, Picatinny rails first came out.
Yeah, and now we're getting back away from them, huh?
And, yeah, you had to, because all of a sudden, everybody was buying it because that's what the military had, but they had no reason to use that much rail.
Right.
I mean, really, you had one light. Then you came up with the 4 grip. I'm like, you use like a total of 4 inches of rail, and you have like 36 inches of rail.
Yeah,
now you
I
have
know.
rail covers. Yeah, then you had to get rail covers that match your rifle's furniture, and then you had to get rail covers with sayings on it. Now you have a 10-pound 223 rifle that weighs as much as a BAR. Congratulations. And you still shoot a 223.
I went through that whole kind of development with my first AR build. I wanted to be able to mount a flashlight to it. So it was either spend, this is right when kind of Keymod was new, I guess, or maybe just whenever it was still hitting the ground. So it was either spend all this extra money for this funky looking Keymod, or get a full pick rail, a full quad rail. And so I just, went with the full quad rail, Yankee Hill machine, lightweight quad rail, and then lightweight, as light as you can get with giant rails.
Quad rail.
Yeah. And then I eventually kind of wanted, it's just so bulky that I wanted to get rid of it, so I sold my upper and built a new upper, and that's what I've got now is the MOE rifle length handguards, just to kind of keep it simpler. But this is best of both worlds. You can add rails as necessary.
And it's free float.
Yep, and it's free float. And the price on that is $259 on their website. I'm sure once they come out, once they get into actual distributors and stuff like that, though, you'll be able to find them a little cheaper on the street, as they say. But I'm not sure if I mentioned the name of it. It's the MREX, MREX AR rail. So if you need to look that up, that's at Kinetic DG, KINETICDG.com. And I guess as an add-on accessory, Ryan mentioned we should probably talk about that too, is their, what do they call them? Their QD, Connect QD M-LOK mount. These things are amazing. Have you guys looked at those to go with the M-LOK stuff?
Yeah, I definitely did, and I've seen a little bit, and then what was it? The Chaos Clarity just he started his own kind of weekly coverage video on YouTube, and he talked about these, and he called them, a game changer. There's been so many things that came out for the AR-15 that's just kind of saturating the market. But now you got the whole M-LOK Keymod thing, and they both basically do the same. They eliminate you having to kind of feed a nut inside the handguard so you can fasten that rail down. You just kind of directly put it in there, but you still have to use a tool. These are toolless M-LOK attachments, so they make them in different lengths, and they literally have a mechanism inside them where you just place it into the rail and it locks in, and it's got tabs on the forward and back that you squeeze in to release. So it's like literally toolless, and I think this might kind of help tip the scales as far as the whole M-LOK Keymod thing.
Yep.
Unless somebody comes out with a concept like this for Keymod, this is gonna kind of tip it to M-LOK's favor for a while.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, and like you said with Chaos, like you said, a game changer. And these sections, they have a 3-slot Picatinny section, which is $49.99, and then they have a 7-slot, which covers 2 of the M-LOK spaces, and that's $59.99, as well as a bipod mount, which hooks to that puts a direct attach to a Harris style bipod to where you don't have to put a rail and then put the bipod on it. You just put this directly on the bipod and clip it in. And this is I can imagine this being especially awesome for, if you have one flashlight or one bipod or something like that you need to switch between rifles. You just pinch these two little buttons and slap it on the other rifle. You don't have to unscrew this and screw it back on the other one, worry about losing screws or losing an Allen wrench or something along those lines. So this definitely great advancement. And It looks like they're also offering an offset mount to where you could probably, I think this offset mount I think is specifically made to go in that 10 or 2 o'clock position like I was mentioning earlier. Or maybe, I'm not entirely sure, but it offsets, so you can put your offset flashlight or even, an offset backup red dot if you're, a competition shooter or something like that, where you can just tilt the rifle and you have your backup red dot. They even have one that's specifically made for the aim point micro. So they're definitely, and I've heard they're working on a bunch of other stuff too. So I'm pretty excited to see what else they're coming out with.
I don't know. It's a lot of fun being in today's day and age in the gun market, especially with the AR market, as you watch it mature and change over a relatively short period of time. If you think about how long the AR's been out, pretty much it was developed in the late 50s and started being sold on the civilian market in 63 to 65.
Yeah.
But what you see in the last few years is just amazing. It's what happens pretty much when a gun goes to war and comes back. It just matures.
Right.
I mean, it happened in every war.
Especially to think, expand on that, I guess. The M-Lock's barely a year old.
Yeah.
Magpul released this roughly just over a year ago, and now we've got all these accessories, which I'm pretty excited about seeing.
Well, that's what happens when you don't get greedy and you open source your technology also.
Right.
I mean, it is amazing, and who knows what's coming next, and it keeps growing because it doesn't just stop with ARs. Now look, Magpul is making AK furniture.
Oh yeah, they've got AK
going
stuff
over there.
Remington 700, 1022s. They've got all that, and they're going to put their own attachment system on all their other stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and
so imagine taking your flashlight and putting it on your AK, your AR, your 1022, your Remington 700 for God knows why, your Remington 870, all within like a minute, like pop, 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 pop. Like you can easily move it around.
Yep.
You only have to buy one flashlight now, guys. It's amazing.
Yeah, but you're going to buy multiple anyways, or at least I will, because I'm a flashlight nerd.
Okay. I was going to say, you're not going to have a garage sale now, are you?
No. But to kind of speak on the durability of these things, or at least initially, they posted a video, Kinetic Development Group did, to where they initially developed the Emmerich rail to add rail space, I guess, to the SCAR. And then, so they have a picture or a video where they mounted one of these. They mounted one of these rail pieces into their Emmerich rail, put like a piece of paracord through it, put it up on a forklift, and a guy grabbed onto it, and they picked him up by the forklift. He's just holding on to the rail, and he did a couple pull-ups on it. So he's doing a few pull-ups on this rail by just these two little bitty tabs they have holding it onto the rail. So I imagine it's got to be pretty tough to be able to handle that. A lot of your polymer and stuff like that. I don't imagine would hold up to that.
I'm not impressed. I'm not impressed by any firearms test unless they tie it behind the vehicle and drag it. That's my real. That is such a annoying thing that people do in videos on YouTube that means absolutely nothing. It's like, we dragged it behind the truck. What does that mean? You dragged it behind the truck, so what? Yeah, putting excessive weight on it, if you've ever been trying to get in and out of anything during a class, during an exercise, your gear hangs up.
Yeah.
And if you don't snatch it apart while you're trying to pull it out of the vehicle, yeah, it holds up pretty good. So
yeah,
that kind of makes sense.
Imagine if you're running into a building and slam a flashlight into a door frame or something like that. That probably could put a couple 100 pounds of pressure on it, which would be similar to them demonstrating a full-grown man doing pull-ups.
Yeah.
Try getting out a Humvee with a full-size AR-15 and all your gear.
20-inch M16.
Yeah, pretty much you'll get hung up like a Tom and Jerry cartoon. trying to walk through a door with a 2x4.
There's not many other products that are kind of, tested the same way. Like nobody goes like, sweetie, what about this ring? Can I drag it behind my Jeep? Well, no. Well, then we're not getting it.
Exactly. I just don't get it. Maybe it makes great television. I saw one guy buried his Glock in the ground supposedly for a year, dug it up, and it shoots. What's the point?
I think I did see that video. I think it was a 10mm Glock too, and they put like 1,000 rounds back to back. Just had a line of 20 people just loading mags and step up to the line, dump your mag, and go reload it.
Yeah. What's the point? I mean, it's cool. Again, it makes great TV. It's like stuff on Mythbusters. But what's the point?
Well, actually, that's a great segue because we're going to go ahead and we're going to skip any FI reviews unless Tony brought one. Did you?
No, I didn't. Sorry.
No problem, because we're just going to skip that this week, and we're going to get right into a tech gadget that has to do with the Glock. And I know a lot of you Glock owners will probably go out and buy this maybe today if it's your cup of tea. This is from CCA, which is at Command Arms. And it's a gunshot counter for your Glock that fits right into the grip. So they call it the Secubit Glock shot counter.
It's CAA, Ryan.
CCA?
CAA.
Oh, CAA.
Yep. Close enough,
right.
though.
Yeah.
Anyways.
So it's just a polymer-bodied shot counter that fits into the plug of your what do you call that cavity in the Glock's grip?
I don't know. The cavity.
The cavity, right? It weighs less than an ounce, guys. Less than half an ounce. It only weighs 0.32 ounces, so it's not like you're putting like probably weighs less than a couple of AA batteries. It does lock into the grip just like one of those standard grip plugs would, and it's got a USB port in the bottom, so you can plug it into your computer, and obviously you have the software, and you'll be able to track your shot strings, your time in between shots, as well as how many shots have been fired total. So this could be actually pretty cool for somebody that has wanted a shot timer, but doesn't want to actually buy a shot timer, or possibly whole police departments that issues Glocks to every officer, and this would be a great way to not only for training but just keep track of how many rounds have been fired the whole gun.
Yeah, I could see where it could be valuable to some people. I'm just not entirely certain. Like, I don't see the appeal of it, I guess, but I could see how some people would. I mean, I guess it's kind of cool to be able to. I think it can sync. It can either sync with your phone or you can plug it. I think you have to plug it in manually to your phone. Compatible with Android's version 4.1 and above. They don't mention Apple, so I imagine that's probably not far behind.
Yeah, it says coming soon to Apple app. I see CCI makes some really good stuff, but some of the stuff they make you really go, that's a really niche piece of equipment. Like, I want a shot timer because I'm going to need it for stuff we're doing, the training that I'm doing and I'm going to be teaching. But it's like I don't want one that's Glock specific, and I definitely don't want one that weighs like an ounce and a half because I'm going to lose it. So, yeah, I need a bigger shot timer. But if all you have is one Glock or you run your Glock for competition, I guess this is good.
Yeah, I'm not even sure if it would necessarily be a good replacement for a shot timer, like a traditional use of a shot timer. You're not going to, because there's no immediate readout. You can't have it beep, draw, shoot 3, and see how long that took. This is just, I'm sure it probably gives you split times and stuff like that, but I think you have to kind of download it from the device before you see it, rather than an immediate readout. So I imagine.
So why am I getting this then?
Yeah, it's kind of how.
Because it's a black box and an odometer for your gun.
Yeah.
Okay, because it will attach to the gun. That's why you get it. All right, I got it. Makes sense now. I just had to figure out a reason for it.
Yeah, I mean, that's a totally valid point. Like, why would you? Because they say under features for shooters who want to improve split time, which is the time between shots. Well, you've got to actually go home or plug it into your phone in order to get that information. Jerry Michalik isn't going to sit by his phone and wait for this to tell him how fast he shot.
Yeah.
Like he kind of wants that information displayed on some kind of LED screen, like right then and there. So
Now, if they went one step
And
further and made this Bluetooth, that would probably increase my interest by a good bit. You know, if it was Bluetooth and sent it directly to your phone, to where you could have maybe have your phone sitting on the bench right in front of you. You shoot a string of 3, look down, and you see your split times, your total times, and all that kind of stuff. But as it stands right now, I'm not entirely sure.
yeah.
And I mean, for the price, you still, again, for the price, you can buy a standalone shot timer, or
Right.
if you have an Android phone, you can download the free app like I have. It's
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I can get it for free, or I can pay you $99 and have something that only fits in my Glock. Yeah, no, I don't own a Glock.
Yeah.
Yeah, when they come out with one for the high point, you'll be interested.
Yeah. Well,
No.
it records. It says it records up to 50,000 or 500,000 shots.
That's a lot.
It's a lot, you know, and each one of them seems like it's time stamped. You know, and it computes the time in between shots. But you know, I guess it's all keeping track of that with the timestamp. So you gotta kind of, you know, if you're looking through your data after a whole weekend of shooting, you know, it's gonna be kind of. I hope it's not too hard to kind of pick through to find the data that you're looking for.
I bet there's probably some sort of filtering and stuff that goes on with the program. I guess that would all depend on how good the app and the program are. But as
Can
of
you
right
imagine?
now, go ahead.
Can you imagine that loading sequence as it's waiting to load 500,000 shots? What did I start out as? Loading.
This is just one step closer to that Judge Dredd gun, guys.
Yeah, I never saw it.
Oh, dude, when you press a button and you can go hollow points, and then all of a sudden the gun loads up hollow points, or, you know,
nice.
flare, and then it loads up a flare.
Okay, cool.
What was that, was that the Sylvester Stallone Judge Dredd movie or the new one?
That was the original.
Oh, really?
Yeah. This young buck just made an old movie reference. I mean, not too old, but
I live in Jersey. They made that. They edited that part of the movie out because they said hollow points.
Good one.
So right now it's available for the Gen 1 through 3, 17, 18, which is interesting that they added 18 on there. 17, 18, 19, 22, 23, and I could only assume the 357 and 45 gap because I think they have the same frames, just nobody ever mentions those. But the thing I find kind of curious is in their own literature, they show a picture of it in a Glock 17 Gen 4. So I'm kind of thinking maybe that's the next release is the Gen 4. To show it in a Gen 4 but not tell you that it's available for the Gen 4 is kind of odd.
Well, I find it funny. It tells you it's available in a Glock 18, but it won't have the 45 gap and the 357 SIG because more people own Glock 18s than 45 gaps.
Yeah, probably.
So just looking at a screenshot of what the app looks like on the computer, you can insert notes onto kind of each string. You expand or collapse the shots of the day or by a month, so it kind of just keeps track of all that. Let's see, burst firing, group shots. You can kind of all group that together. Yeah, I mean, it's just if you're really into data, if that's your fetish, then this might be interesting to you. But actually, looking at this a little bit more, I was like, oh, cool, something electronic. I could shove it in my Glock. Awesome. Actually, looking at it now, I'm kind of like, I don't know how much I'd use this personally, as much as I shoot my Glock.
Yeah, I imagine
you max out that 500,000 round thing.
No, I don't think I'd ever hit that in my lifetime. Just between the 1911s and the Smith & Wessons, M&P for life, man. M&P for life.
Well, maybe M&P will be next. They'll make it twist into the little takedown tool slot.
Yeah, I hope not. Yeah. All right, so that's pretty much the products we're going to talk about this week. So I told you guys it was going to be a short, quick one. Just kind of getting a little bit of a survey. What do you guys think about doing like an archery-only episode? Because I've been looking through some magazines, and there's some pretty sweet archery products that are out brand new that I think even someone who's never shot a bow would go, oh, that's pretty neat. Maybe I should pick up a bow one of these days.
You're asking us, or are you asking the listeners?
Asking the listeners and then asking you guys. Or are you guys going to be like, nope, I'm out?
I know almost nothing about bows. I probably know more about optics with my Tascos than I know about bows. I probably wouldn't be able to do that show with you.
All right. Well, I think Chad's flung an arrow or two, so he might be interested. And then, anyway, so that's it. There's no listener feedback. I want to make sure you guys know about the FRN EDC giveaway before it's too late. The end of the month is coming, and that's the deadline. So the Firearms Radio Network is putting on a extraordinary daily carry giveaway. They're giving away a Car P9 pistol, as well as some more swag by other companies: Alien Gear holsters, Keybar, Hellbent holsters, Precision Ear, Easy to See targets, Cantu Brunner designs, Wazoo survival gear, and LA police gear. So it's a nice prize package. The deadline for entrance is July 30th, which is, June 30th of this month. So time is of the essence. If you want to enter, you have to, there's two ways. You can be a patron using Patreon of one of our 4 Patreon campaigns, or you can just use the form on that page on firearmsradio.tv/EDC. There's a form there where you can put your name, email address, phone number, and a testimonial on how this network or any of its shows have affected your life, and then you'll be entered to win without giving us any of your money. So make sure you get in on that before it's too late. Yep, anyway, send questions or comments to podcast@firearmsradio.tv. I'm sorry, is that right? Nope, that was wrong. Send questions or comments to podcast@firearmsinsider.tv or myself, Cross@firearmsradio.tv. Remember to subscribe and leave us an iTunes review. Check out all the other shows on the Firearms Radio Network at firearmsradio.tv/iTunes. And be sure to visit the Firearms Insider website for reviews and industry coverage. And also make sure, while you're on the internet, going to all these links that I'm telling you to go visit, check out Tony and his Simon Says training. Tell us about it.
Yeah, it's Tony at Simon's. You can go to Simon Says Train on Facebook. My newest shoot, my latest shoot, kicks off on the 25th. That's pretty much booked solid. For next week's show, I'll have a new date for the newest shoot, which will usually be a couple of months later. I like to give it 8 weeks, just to give people enough time to schedule it in because it's the summer. So, yeah, that's what I'm doing. That's when I'm going to have my next event. And if you guys go to blackbagresources.com and check him out, he just redid his whole webpage. Makes it easy to order and easy to check out the gear he has. He helps me out a lot, and I really appreciate him and appreciate you guys letting me on. Thanks.
Yeah, no problem. You give this show credibility that we can only hope for.
You guys are great.
Yeah. So anyway, I hope everyone has a good week. They stay relatively cool in the hot weather, and shoot safe. And I'll catch you on the next episode.
Alrighty, see you later, Ron.
Yep. See you guys.
All right. Bye, guys.